Hello everybody, hope your night is going well. So before we get started with the quote-unquote main event, a little bit of preface. So I initially made the Twitter joke that maybe I should stat more custom space frames, and some people said, yeah, you should do it. So I opened up a Google form, and I didn't expect anybody to actually submit anything. And I now have 38 submissions that I have to go through. Not that that's a bad thing, but I have gotten a lot more interest in this than I was initially expecting. So the initial premise is that I will be making ship stats, space frame stats, for Star Trek Adventures for custom space frames. So things that aren't officially statted, things that people have maybe wanted to see for a long time, and I'm going to be doing my best to more or less bring them to life so that you can use them at your table. Now, I should clarify in that I'm not exactly making NPC stat blocks. I am making playable stat blocks, meaning that you could take these, apply your mission profiles, and you would be good. You could run this as a hero ship kind of a thing. But yeah, trying to look at the schedule here. Let me pull that up real quick. Yeah, it's probably going to be at least a month's worth of content, so, you know, streaming and health willing. The idea is that I'll probably be doing this every Wednesday for a little while. Today we have the Scimitar and the Fek'lhr. The Scimitar, of course, from Nemesis, and the Fek'lhr from Armada 1 and Armada 2. It's a favorite game there. Next week we have the Fortune class, which is a fan directly requested me to stat that, so I'll be doing their Fortune class. Then we also have that same day the Aegean class, also from Star Trek Armada 2. September 7th, we have the Resolution and the Premonition. Premonition actually received like 4 or 5 submissions. People liked it that much. September 14th, we have the Ark Royal and the Akula. And then September 21st, we have the Jaeger and the Ares scheduled. Also, hello, Lord Exile. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. But yeah, trying to think if there's anything I want to say before I jump into statting. Don't think there is. Yeah, nothing's coming to mind, so let's get to it. Alright, so, as you can tell, we have the good old Scimitar stat block ready to be done here. And we're just going to go through it and see what we can do. So, first things first, and I didn't do this last time, we actually need to determine the scale first. Now, that might seem a little bit odd, but on stream, what I neglected to do was account for the fact that scale affects how many system points you have. Now, of course, the continuing mission post that I posted about the Argus class is corrected, but I did want to make a note of that before we went any further. So, when it comes to the Scimitar, it is definitely as large as the Odyssey class. It's definitely larger than a Sovereign class, which is a scale 6. It's armed to hell and back. So I'm thinking a comfortable scale 7 for the Scimitar. Now what that's going to do to our system points is that, let me look at the chart here, we actually gain 3 system points because we are a scale 7. So let me make a note of that. So we're already starting with 3. Now, the next thing we need to determine is the actual system points we get. Now, my sources tell me that the Scimitar came out around 2379. So, the starting year... Hey, Real Evil Steve, hello, hello. So, 2379 is the launch year for the Scimitar, and the year we need to work from is 2200. So, that is 179. And we have to round down, interestingly. So that is 17. So, yeah, that is 57 points before we add in the system points. So we have a grand total of 60 points here that we can spend. That's pretty significant. We have 60 system points that we can spend. Now, when it comes to Romulan vessels, there is guidance. There's also guidance for Klingon vessels where to put the system points. For Romulans, they recommend on sensors and communications. Now, sensors and communications sounds good, but I want to double check and see what it looks like when, because we got to do something with the cloak. Like the special thing, we either have to make it a talent or we have to make it a special ability. Hey, Umbral Corvus, hello, hello. We either have to make it a special ability or we have to make it a special talent for the Scimitar to have its perfect cloak, because that is literally the Scimitar's selling point, besides the Omega kill everything beam that it uses. We're not going to stat that. That's not going to be in a Scimitar class that you can stat as a hero ship. I'm deliberately avoiding the Tholaron generator. As fun as it might be, the Tholaron generator just doesn't seem track to me. Like, it just... That might seem weird coming from me, and I love Prometheus classes, which some people don't think is track, but the Tholaron generator, the Tholaron beam that the Scimitar has in Nemesis, I don't think it deserves a place in role-playing. Because it is quite literally a you push button. Yeah, exactly. It's a one-shot plot device. They're plot points, not rules. Exactly. So let me take a look. Let me just quickly move forward until I find the cloaking rules, because I want to make sure that we do buff that. So it does look like engines and security are the stats that the cloaking device uses. So, hey, McCall, hello, hello. So let's see, the Scimitar has 60 points, which means theoretically we could put a, what is that, a 12? Quick math in my head, I can do math. We can put a 10 in everything. So why don't we start with that? Why don't we just start by putting a 10 in everything? And then we can up and down as need be. That'll make it nice and easy. Alright, so we just learned that a cloaking device is engine security. Well, I would agree that we should have high engines. We should have high engines for that regard. And I believe we should also have high weapons. And we should have high structure. So interestingly, we're going against convention here. Again, the direction that they give you for Romulans and Vulcans is that you're supposed to put it into sensors, communications, and computers, but that doesn't work for the Romulan Scimitar. Like, it just doesn't work. Yeah, exactly, Steve. It's a Romulan vessel, but it's a murder vessel. It's not an intelligence vessel. So I think what we need to do is we actually need to take a point immediately away from... Yeah, I was going to say, I don't like one-shot, one-kills either. Like, again, that might seem odd coming from someone who literally put the wave motion gun in Euthenia, but that experience taught me that one-shot, one-kill weapons are plot devices, not actual weapons that need to have rules. So that's why I'm not going to give it a Tholaron. But no, let's do this. Let's take away a point from comms, a point from computers, and then let's go ahead and immediately give 12 weapons, because this thing, even without its Tholaron beam, the Scimitar is, well, here, I'll read it verbatim from Memory Alpha. Where is it? There it is. So this thing has 52 pulse disruptor cannons. It's got 27 torpedo launchers. It has so many things that are just like, my lord. It has a lot of things. Like, it legit has a lot of things that are just going to make this thing absolutely broken. But people wanted to see it, so we're going to stat it. Alright, so we have the 12 in weapons, because I think the 12 in weapons is justified. Now we need to figure out how to get a point into engines and a point into structure, because again, this is a beefy boy. It should have good stats. So I'm thinking... I'm thinking we take a point away from sensors, and we take another point away from comms to give engines 11 and structure 11. I think that would be well. So let's do that. Let's go to 09, 09, and then year 08. All right. Now again, that looks a little weird to me. Like, that is obviously an unbalanced stat block, but again, this is a murder ship, not a recon intelligence gathering ship. This is the ship you send when you want to blow something up. This isn't the ship you send to go spy on people. Or at least, again, that's the intent behind the design. Alright, so for now, we're gonna say that that's the system points. So next we need to talk about department points. And again, we have 3 department points to spend. So I think for sure, security's getting a +1 here. And I would think that engineering is going to get a +1. Maybe? Yeah, definitely security and engineering. But let me just, again, double check the cloaking rules to see if there's any further guidance that I should be aware of. Yeah, so I'm thinking we actually do a +2 in security. Yeah, we should. What I'm going to say is let's do a 2 in security. I think that fits the theme we're going for. And then we need to actually add a field here for weapons, because we need to figure out how many of these glorious things do we have. So it's extremely tempting to put on all the bells and whistles. But again, we want this to be a reasonable vessel, not an I win button, because I win buttons are boring. Nobody likes I win buttons. But I do agree that we should be using disruptors, so we will have disruptors at least. But it matters on which type of disruptor that we do. And I'm actually looking very carefully at memory alpha and memory beta. And I'm seeing multiple different things. Like, alpha says cannons in one place, then banks in another. Beta's kind of pulling from Star Trek Online, but let me just read this carefully here. Be curious to see a huge Klingon war vessel? You know, maybe I can stat one. Again, you know, the form is open. Should be available on my Twitter, so go ahead, and if you know a big old Klingon vessel from STO or Homebrew, just send it in. I'm happy to take a look at it. Okay, so here I'm reading on memory beta, and I'm once again seeing the word banks used. So yeah, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to give it disruptor banks. So that is roughly security +7 +1 CD. Alright, so that's going to give it that much, and then we need to talk about photon torpedoes. Alright, so that's easy. I think the Scimitar has pulse disruptor cannons in the front and some banks in the rear, like Defiant. I mean, probably. The problem is I'm, without actually pulling up, I was going to say, yeah, Petrus, you're right, in that I do remember them using cannons. But for some reason, they don't mention it in beta or alpha. You would think. Okay, you know what? I can't show it on screen because then I'll get dinged because YouTube is dumb. But let me see if I can find Star Trek cannon. Let me see if I can just find a very quick video of it using cannons. Let me see. This is a battle scene. Make sure this is muted. Yeah, those are... Okay, yeah, that's... I don't need to watch any further more than 5 seconds. Those are cannons. Those are cannons. Alright, so this thing's getting disruptor cannons, too. Alright, so that's security, +7, +2, challenge dice. Alright, so it also has photon torpedoes, which is 3. What is the guidance? Did they change it? Let me see... Nope, still 3. Alright, 3 in high yield. Alrighty. Alright, so you get security +3. Alright, now we can talk about talents. And for talents, I think we need to follow the Odyssey's guidance here, where we provide just enough that there is incentive to give it a mission profile talent, but then you have an extra one you can pick. So, for example, the Odyssey space frame has 4, which actually gives it, let me do the math here, that actually gives it 2 that the players can choose from, which I'm totally okay with. So we need to at least pick 4. And here's where we need to start making big decisions, because we either need to make the perfect cloak a special rule of the Scimitar, or we need to make it a talent. And that's going to define a lot of things when it comes to how many talents we have to play with. Because again, if we make it a talent, that's one less talent we have. But if we make it a special rule, that doesn't count against the talent numbers. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think talent? You think special rule? Kind of on the fence. Kind of not sure which way to go. Because I'm looking on memory beta and memory alpha, and as far as I can tell, double back to it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we can come back to the perfect cloak. We'll leave one open. Cloaking device talent and enhanced cloak for special rule. You know? You know what, Lord Exile? Let me actually get the link for it handy, and let me make this a quick command. That way people can just submit to it on stream. I probably should have done that ahead of time. Give me one moment here. Alright. Grab this link, copy, go to Nightbot. Let's see, Nightbot. Alright, call this Antares. Submit your custom space frames to be statted here. Alright, so now if I did it right, and if anybody asks, I'm going to let you guys in chat sort of self-moderate. But there you go. Exclamation mark Antares, and you'll get the Google form link. Yay. Alright. Yeah, you know what, I think, McCall, I think you're onto something to make it a talent and a special rule, but let's double back. Let's at least pick 3 others, and then we'll double back and see what we want to do. So again, looking at Utopia Planitia here, I do think that we need to put, where is it? Extensive shuttle bays, there it is. Because every single thing I've seen, whether it's memory beta, alpha, or the movie itself, it's got a lot of shuttle bay space, like a lot. It's got a huge shuttle bay. So it definitely has to have extensive shuttle bays, like no brainer, it's got to. Let me sort of read through the technical specs here and see if there's any other words that jump out at me. Let's see. Well, I think it... Okay, so it does have double shielding. So maybe what we do for the shielding... There's a few ways we can actually handle this. We could either give it improved shield recharge, which would give it, well, recharging shields very quickly. Or what we could give it is something like advanced shields, which would just give it a flat 5. And I'm kind of wondering which way I want to go with this, because... What do you guys think? Do you think we should give it better shield recharging capabilities, or should we just give it more shields overall? Advanced. She's tough, but not weirdly tough. Okay. Alright. I see the argument there. Because, yeah, like... I mean, that's sort of my problem with Utopia Planitia, is that it just gives too many good options. I almost get decision paralysis when I do things like this. It's like, oh, but I want this, and this, and this. And it's just like, I can't have everything. Yeah, the only reason I thought improved shield recharge is because they do mention that it has regenerative deflective shields, but it also does have 2 layers of shielding. You'd go regen? Yeah, you know what? Let's give it improved shield. You know what? The more I think about it, let's just go ahead and give it improved shield. So improved shield recharge. That way, cloak plus regen equals the nemesis fight. Yes, exactly. Yes, that's what we were trying to emulate. All right, so now we kind of have a free talent here. Before we have to deal with a cloaking conundrum. I'm thinking fast targeting systems. That way it doesn't get the difficulty increase to target a specific system. But, there's also something to be said for giving it adaptable energy weapons. Now, adaptable energy weapons is a new talent in Utopia Planitia, and what this does is it basically reduces the weapon's stress rating by 1, so it takes away a challenge dice for damage. But you can swap out stress effect for any other. So for Disruptor, for example, you would have Vicious 1. So let's say you didn't want Vicious 1. Maybe you wanted Piercing 2 or some other sort of a stress effect. You could do take 1 less damage. And yeah, the idea is that this is meant to be like a Federation thing, but I see an argument for it working for the Scimitar as well. So that's one option. That's one option. Another easy option is to go ahead and give it something like slim sensor profile, which kind of makes sense. Even if it has perfect cloak, it's kind of hard to lock on to. What else could we give it? Let me see. We could give it... So we have fast targeting systems. We have adaptable energy weapons. What else do we have? Let me see. Okay, I don't actually, you know, when I read Slim Sensor Silhouette, I don't like it. It wouldn't have that and cloak. Does not work for me. Let me see. Okay, let me ask this. For those of you that may have recently watched Nemesis, was there ever a point where the Scimitar shot down torpedo attacks against it? Did it ever have a point defense system? Because if it does, we can give it a point defense system. Easy. But I don't recall. It's been like 3 years since I last saw Nemesis. So, you know, something to consider. What else we got that we could give it? No? Okay. So, what else could we give this thing? Well, we could give it secondary reactors. It could give it more power, which would be in line. It does not have a PDS. Got it. We could give it secondary reactors, which would give it more power, which that would give it a total of 16 power under cloak, which would be freaking amazing. What else could we give this thing? I mean, there's siphoning shields, but I don't know that the Scimitar class ever siphoned shields. Like, that's... I forget which vessel did it. It's in one of the movies, but the siphoning shield doesn't quite jump out at me. It's a cool talent, but doesn't quite jump out at me. Yeah, tell you what, we're gonna go with secondary reactors because I think that makes more sense for ship under cloak, and that way, you know, you can stay under cloak longer. But yeah, now that I've thought about it a bit more, I do agree that for something as powerful as cloaking device and as powerful as this is going to be, when we give it the special rule, we have to make this also a talent. So we give it the cloaking device talent, and now we're going to do special rules here. So special rules, let me put that in all caps, special rules. All right, so we need to define what this cloaking device can do. So we need to start off by saying that while under cloak, the Scimitar class can actually, what do they call it? So special rules, let me do this. Yeah, I know, I'm a stickler for formatting. Perfect cloak. All right, while under cloak, the Scimitar class can, let me bold that or let me italicize it, can attempt attacks. Can attempt attacks. Because it also, if I remember correctly, it also had shields under cloak. That was half the problem, was you pretty much couldn't, that's why they called it a perfect cloak. Like, you could have shields, you could warp, and that's why it was so deadly, because it literally just could sit there cloaked forever. So how do we phrase this? While under cloak, the Scimitar can attempt attacks, go to warp, and or maintain its shielding. But we need to give it a way for people to fight against this. Yeah, I do remember that, Petrus, where they lowered part of the shields and cloak to pretend to be damaged. I do remember that part. I think I'm thinking of the thing you're thinking of. You know what I mean. So we need to... That in of its own is a huge special rule, but I want to provide guidance that will allow someone that is running this to not be like, oh, the players are cloaked, I can't do anything, oh well. We need to make a special rule here. So let's do this. Let's do a however. Any ship, because if I remember correctly, the way there were two ways that they found the Scimitar. One was they just fired at random until they hit it, and another one was they targeted where the weapons discharge from the Scimitar came from. Oh, well, McCall, it's... Yeah, that's basically what I'm going to require. And the wording on cloaking device, they might have changed it between books, but the wording on cloaking device in Utopia Planitia is that it cannot be the target of an attack unless the attacker found some way of detecting the cloak vessel. So they need to be able to detect the vessel in question. So we need to provide an easy or at least a semi-difficult way for someone to detect through this perfect cloak. Because again, yeah, I was going to say, it is much different from... they updated a lot of the core talents here. A lot of the core talents. All right, let's do this. There are two ways of piercing this cloak. And... how do I say this? Two ways of piercing this cloak and becoming able to attack the Scimitar. The first is by firing randomly. Let's call this a control plus security, assisted by the ship's weapons plus security at a difficulty of 4. I think a 4 is a valid. I think 4 is a valid difficulty for that. The second is by, how do we say this? By tasking the computer to, how do I put this in words? To analyze where the Scimitar is firing from after it has made an attack. This involves let's see, I'm thinking a reason. Ooh, do we make it insight or do we make it reason? Because there's arguments for both. Because either way, insight and reason are usually things that security officers skimp on. The question is, do I want it to be more reason or more insight? I don't know, what do you guys think? Insight or reason? What do you guys think? Insight, reason? Because, again, I could go either way at this point. Insight? In the moment thing, I do agree. Yeah, insight is usually something that requires a little bit of thought. Reason, yeah. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? You know what? I'm gonna go with my gut on this one. I'm gonna go with insight on this one. So we're gonna do an insight plus security, assisted by the ships. Now here's how we do. We have to do computers plus security at a difficulty of 3. Yeah, let's make it a difficulty of 3, because even then... Yeah, it is... I think that's a fair thing. Let me actually look at the rules for the tachyon detection grid. Okay, so the tachyon detection grid is a difficulty of 2, has a power requirement of 2, and it locks you in place, but you're notified of any vessel that come within close range. Ew, I don't like that. Insight would mean you know and understand. See, the problem is both of you have good insight into, well, insight and reason. Like, your arguments are good. I don't know, it's... You know what? I think what we actually need to do here is firing randomly needs to be a difficulty of 5, because you are firing randomly, and I think we got to make this a difficulty 4, because otherwise... Oh, but then is that too hard for an NPC ship to hit? Or even, hell, is that too hard for a... I mean, because that's kind of how the encounter works, is the Scimitar acts with impunity until its cloak is more or less nullified. So it kind of becomes a game of nullifying the cloak. If I make it difficulty 3, it's going to be too easy. But if I make them both... Can I make them both 4? Make them both 4. Yeah, I was going to say it is blind fire. Yeah, alright, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to keep the initial one firing randomly at a difficulty of 5, but we are going to switch insight for reason. I do think, now that I think about it more, I am going to change that to reason security. Alright, blah, 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 blah. In either event, succeeding on those tasks allows the ship in... Okay, let's phrase this way. Succeeding on those tasks exposes the Scimitar and allows it to be targeted by attacks. Okay, alright. So, I think we've got a Scimitar here. I think we did good. Yeah, I'm liking that. The more I look at it, the more I like it. Neat. Alright, cool. Alright, well, anybody think we need to add anything else to this thing before we move on to the Fek'lhr? Because the Fek'lhr is going to be very interesting. Yeah, like, I like the systems, I like the departments. It's got the weapons standard, it's got the 4 talents so that 3 more can be added, it's got the special cloak rule. I don't think we need to really add anything else. Yeah, I'm not really figuring what to... Yeah, probably Petrus. Tomlock says many, many things. Yeah, I think that's a done deal. Yep, alright. Scimitar saved, and I'll post it to continuing mission later. Alright, so next, let me switch this over. Here we go. Now we're going to talk about the Fek'lhr. So, the Fek'lhr, for those who don't know, it was the special weapon ship in Star Trek Armada 1 and 2, and basically it had 4 signature abilities. And I don't know if I can find a video of it. I've searched, I feel like, for an hour today looking for one, but basically the Fek'lhr can do 4 things. The first thing it can do is it can create a temporary unstable ion storm that basically is like a red nebula that damages everything inside. There's a version of an energy dissipator that drains the power reserves of enemy warships, so that we can make a weapon. That we can make a dampening weapon. There's the shockwave weapon, which knocks out engines and leaving them spinning helplessly away. But the question is, how much of that do we make it? How much of that do we make it a special weapon? Because this is only listing 3. I could have sworn it had 4. Hold on, I gotta consult Trek Core. Hold on, where's Trek Core? Hold on. Trek Core. When in doubt, go to Trek Core. Alright, gaming. I need Armada 1. Actually, let me check. No, Armada 1 will work as long as I have the... Here we go. Ships and station. That is not what I wanted. And you are giving me literally nothing. Hold on. Nope, nothing there. Okay, let's go to Armada 2. Maybe Armada 2 will be a little bit more... Let me see. Ships and stations. Nope, not gonna let me do that. No, why would you give me anything? Why would you... I literally just want the there we go, player's manual. Thank God, that's what I wanted. Fek'lhr. 35? Let's see. Alright, that's Federation. Ew, hey, I got it. Ooh, okay, so it does have 4. I just forgot about the 4th one. So, here's the 4 it has. It has Death Chant, which increases the rate of fire and crew effectiveness of all friendly ships in range. So that's got to be a command ship special thing we're going to do. In fact, let me start taking notes on this because I don't want to double up here. Alright, so special weapons. Alright, so for Death Chant, fork off command ship and add rate of fire? Question mark? And crew effectiveness. I know how to spell. Question mark. Alright, repulsion wave. We need to disable weapons and push ship X range. That should be fairly easy. Ion Storm. Ion Storm. Create temporary area of effect that does damage. And finally we have Energy Dissipator. Oh, so... Oh, I remember now. You would basically throw this in against the special waves of ship, drain all their power, and then they couldn't use their special weapons. I remember now. Yeah. So in Star Trek Adventures, Energy Dissipator, give it a dampening weapon of some sort. Alright. So we got that going. And now we need to, again, go through the steps and determine what the hell scale this thing is. So, just looking at a screenshot here, this is a very small vessel. I remember it being a small vessel. And I would say that it could be a scale 3 or it could be a scale 4. And the question again is whether we make it scale 3 or scale 4, because if we make it a scale 4, we don't have to mess with system points. If we make it scale 3, we have to take away a system point. Now, that said, I do remember that this ship had to be built at the Advanced Shipyard. This wasn't like your normal shipyard. And the Advanced Shipyards, in fact, I think even in Armada 3, the Sins of a Solar Empire? Yeah, that's the game. The Sins mod, you had to build them as a capital ship. Alright, let's do this. Let's make it a scale 4, so we actually do not mess with any system points. And when does Armada take place? Yeah, I was going to say, it allows an extra talent. Yeah, so we're good there. Alright, when the hell does Armada take place? That's all I really need to know. Okay, stardate 53550.8. The Dominion War is over. Of course you're not giving me an actual stardate. Why would you... Why would you give me an actual year? That would just be convenient. Oh, here we go. 2376. All right. So the magical year is 2376. It's another... Okay, so we once again have, same as the Scimitar, because we round down. We have 57 points to play with. All right. So 57 points to play with. Quick math in my head. What is that? 57... Oh, can't do that. That messes with my avatar. All right, here we go. All right, so let's see. We have 57. We divide that by 6. We can put 9 into everything. So let's do that. Let's put 9. I mean, yeah, you guys basically are making it easy for me to just throw things at my players in the future, but yeah. All right, so let's put a 9 in everything. That'll get us up to 54. And we have 3 points more before we maybe need to play more. So I would think that weapons got to go to an 11. Because, duh, special weapons. Comms, I think, actually needs to be higher. I think that needs to be a 10. Because that is, again, for the death chant. I think we got to have a comms of 10. You know what? We're actually going to do something a little weird. We're actually going to take a point away from sensors. And we're going to put a point more into comms, because I think that'll sort of incentivize players to actually use the death chant, or at least that is my hope. Now, when it comes to departments, I think, again, we got to have at least 1 in security and 1 in engineering. But I also am going to put 1 into command because of the death chant. So, yeah, that looks good. That's 3 points there. That's 57 up there. All right, so now we need to talk actual weapons that this thing has. Weapons. All right. So let me see. Does either thing tell me what it actually has in terms of weaponry? Okay, apparently just has disruptor banks is what I'm reading. Yeah, I'm just reading that it has disruptor banks. All right, so it has disruptor banks. So that is security +4 +1 CD. And then we need to give it a dampening weapon. Now, let me scroll back up here. What are the rules on dampening? Because they changed that too. Make sure I'm not totally like making this a ship that's going to immediately be the winner of everything forever. Here we go. Electromagnetic weapon, also known as ion weapons. Electromagnetic weapons pack a punch and drain power from the vessels they hit, and they have the dampening and piercing. Well, I don't want to give it piercing, but I definitely want it to have dampening. Why don't we give this a dampening bank? I think that's probably fair. Is there a... Here we go. Or, ooh, do we give it... Nah, we don't give it depleting. It was very specific. It was energy, not shielding. So let's give it dampening. Let's just call this a dampening weapon. And we're just going to say security +4, +1 CD with dampening. I'm actually going to take away that extra point because that can get very nasty very quickly. Because if they put all their points into security, that could be 8 challenge die. And if that's 8 effects, you just drained away everything. This thing does also have photon torpedoes, so we'll put those in there. So photon torpedoes. So that's security +3 CD. Alright, and now we need to, so let me actually call this. Let me call this an energy dissipator. That way it's not just dampening weapon. Alright, so get rid of that. Alright, so now we need to do special talents, and the first one we're going to do is Death Chant. And we need to look at the rules for Command Ship, which is where? There it is. Alright, so the rules on Command Ship are that anytime a ship succeeds at a command task to create an advantage, they may always be assisted by the ship's communications and command, and they may confer the advantage to allied ships. So here's what we're going to do for Death Chant. Is we are going to give it, because this adds rate of fire and crew effectiveness. So what I'm thinking is we give this, how do we want to phrase this? Because we want to be very careful how we phrase this so it's not completely broken. Well, I do know it's got to be, let's say, a presence plus command, assisted by the ship's communications plus command at difficulty, say difficulty of 3. If successful, yeah, no, I don't like that. Hold on. It's 3. If successful, oh, you know what we could do, which wouldn't be totally game-breaking, but would allow some very good things for a Klingon. If successful, the tactical station for all ships, for all allied ships, including this vessel, can be used a second time per round without necessitating an increased difficulty. All right, so what that means is basically the way, unless they again changed, I don't think they changed this, but technically when you have security, you're only supposed to be able to fire weapons once or remodulate the shields, or like you're only supposed to do one tactical action per round, per ship. You can do it again, but the person has to override the console and it goes up in difficulty. Unless you have a security of 4 or higher, in which case you have 2 tactical stations, so you don't have that increase. So what this is going to do, what Death Chant is going to do, is it is going to allow any allied ships, including the vessel, to use the tactical station once again. So that shouldn't be super broken because it requires a presence command, and I think we need to clarify this is done from the command chair. Let's do command station. Yeah, that way the commander has something to do more than just, the captain and the XO have something more to do than just, oh, well, we're just going to direct you to do something. Now they can actually contribute, or at least contribute a little bit more. All right. Second time per round with us, blah, blah, blah. Let's change this. Not a second time per round, this round. That way you have to do it each round if you want it. Alright, so that's Death Chant. Now we have to talk about Repulsion Wave. And I wrote weapons instead of engines. Nice, good job, me. And I can spell repulsion, too. Okay, so... take a look here. I'm trying to see if there's any weapon that's anything similar to what we have already. Let me see. I think we're just going to have to call it a special weapon. The question is whether to categorize it as a... Yeah, I think both of these are going to be electromagnetic weapons. I think these are both. Yep, I think that's what both of these are going to be. Actually, no, Ion Storm should be electromagnetic weapon. Yeah, let's do that. All right, so Repulsion Wave. Let's call this a control plus security, assisted by the ships. Weapons plus security, and at difficulty 3, medium range. Well, if I make it medium range, then you're just going to snipe people out and you're just going to keep pushing them away. But maybe that's the point. Yeah, let's keep it medium. Medium range. If successful, the target is pushed 1 range band back, i.e. from medium to long, long to extreme. In fact, let me also go close to medium, long to extreme. All right. And we need to disable weapons. Or not weapons, engines. I did it again. But we don't want it to be a... Here's what we do. We say, and the target cannot perform any helm actions until the next round. I think that's fair. I mean, I think that's fair. It should be fair. Yeah. I think that's fair. Because you're basically pushing the target back and knocking them out of helm. Okay, so it cannot perform... The target cannot perform any helm actions until the next round. Oh, let's do this. Any existing helm bonus, i.e. evasive action, attack pattern, etc., is nullified. There we go. Now Repulsion Wave is a juicy thing to do, because that will incentivize you to knock them out and more or less enable them to do, well, a special thing. Alright, so that is 2 talents. Let's Control S. So now we need to talk Ion Storm. Now, Ion Storm, I think, again, is going to be Control Security at difficulty of 3. Let me do this. Adds 1 threat. Actually, you know what? Yeah, you know what? 1 threat's fine. Adds 1 threat. If successful... Actually, let me do this. Targets a spot within medium range. Adds 1 to threat to fire. If task is successful, then... How do we do this? A temporary Ion Storm forms at the spot chosen. This storm deals... how do we do this? Let's do flat 6. Yeah, Yeah, let's do flats, because I remember the ion storm was pretty powerful. If you stack like 3 or 4 ion storms on top of a fleet, the fleet would just vanish. Let's do 6 challenge size. With dampening and piercing and exists up and let me see to all hold on to all how do I do this to all ships structures within that area. I think we can say area here. Within that area, the storm lasts for a let's do this. Each round, roll 1 CD on an effect. The ion storm dissipates. Okay, that is, I think that's fair. I would have to literally run Starship Combat to be 100% sure, but that seems right to me. I mean, that sort of checks out. And then what that'll do is, if we did everything right, yeah, that will let them do a mission profile talent, and then they have those 3 special weapons. Yeah. I like it. What do you guys think? Yeah. Think that's good? Think we need to tweak anything? Also, yes, I think I did get, who submitted this one? This is, let me look. Lord Exile, I did get the Negvar. I mean, the Negvar is in the Klingon rulebook, but I can take another look at it because they didn't refresh the Klingon ships when they put out Utopia Planitia. So they might do differently when we restat it. Maybe. I'll take a look at it. I was gonna say, yeah, I think we have a good ship here. Like, I legit think we have a good ship. Now, one thing I do need to say is that this was a special request for the Fek'lhr. Was a request of Mr. Stephen Ryder, or Stephen Ryder. So let me make that note here. Requested by Stephen Ryder. Alright, there we go. And that is going to be the Klingon Fek'lhr. Neat. Neat, neat, neat. Alright, well, this actually went a lot quicker than I thought it would. Okay. Maybe I need to do 3 per stream, because we've only been at this for an hour. Oh. Let me do this. Why don't I just go back to the big screen and we can do just chatting for a little bit. But yeah, I'll probably end up doing sometime tonight. I'll probably sit down and make all of that into continuing mission posts. So don't worry. Yeah, quick and to the point, 1 hour, enough to watch over dinner. Exactly. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make each ship its own article. That way it's easier to find. Which reminds me, someone is going to have to go back through the space frame list and update it for Utopia. Oh god, that's going to be hell. Ugh. I'll do it because I want it to be useful. I guess I found my thing for the evening. But yeah, it'll be on continuing missions, so don't worry if you ever miss one of these sessions. I will, yeah, by someone, I mean me. Yeah. Yeah. Because I think I'm only going to do these streams. I'm actually not going to put the VODs on YouTube. So these are Twitch exclusive streams. So I'm glad you guys have come out. Now, of course, you can watch the VOD on Twitch for about 2 weeks. So if you want to catch a backlog of something, you can watch on Twitch for up to 2 weeks. But I didn't see much value in putting it out as a VOD. Mostly because I just don't have the viewership for it, or at least the viewership I have doesn't seem predisposed for it on YouTube. It's weird. There's a whole disconnect between Twitch and YouTube, but you know, that's my problem, not your guys' problem. But yeah. Let me see. Make a note here to put that on continuing mission and to sit down and put everything into Spaceframes. Neat. Alright. Well, actually, you know what? Let's actually keep to this hour. You know, oh, here we go. I can actually answer this question real quick before I go anywhere else. Now that the Space Frame book is out, what do you hope STA does next? Couple things. I want STA to talk about the temporal Cold War. And the temporal Cold War is, or the 29th century. I think it's a very interesting campaign setting. I think there is a lot of potential for a time travel campaign on a time ship. But again, I guess you have the whole issue of, ooh, it's time travel. Do we want to deal with that? I think it would be interesting. I also would like to see Lower Decks. I would like to see Prodigy. My understanding, the only reason we don't have Lower Decks and Prodigy in the Utopia Planitia book is because they didn't just have permissions for it yet, and the word yet was stressed. So give it time. I think we are going to have some sort of a supplement for Lower Decks and some sort of supplement for Prodigy. So 29th century Time War, Prodigy and Lower Decks, and then I think I want to see an actual Romulan source book. Like, yeah, I put up my own Romulan source book a while back, but I kind of want to see an actual Romulan source book. Like, I want to see actual Romulans, like legit Bimodifius Romulan source books. In fact, maybe I'll give Jim Johnson a poke and be like, "Hey, Romulan source book, maybe?" Question mark, and see if I can convince him to do it. Because, you know, I don't mean this to toot my own horn, but I feel like if I didn't badger Jim Johnson enough about the Prometheus class, we wouldn't have gotten it in the first place. Because I feel like at every opportunity I was asking that poor man, "Hey, where's the Prometheus? Where's the Prometheus? Hey, Jim, where's the Prometheus?" So, yeah, that was a thing. If you're listening, Jim, sorry. I just really like the Prometheus and wanted to see it officially statted. Oh, Lord. But yeah, that would be my answer to that question, McCall. That would be my answer. Yeah, let's find somebody to raid real quick. Let's get you guys out of here a little bit early. Let's see what we've got online. Alright, let me see. You know what? I'm gonna throw you guys over at Choco Jax because she's doing her normal art thing and fan of the channel. So I'm just gonna send you guys over to Choco. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Glad you had fun listening into my mad rambling. And next stream is going to be Friday with the Transformers one-shot. So do look forward to that. That starts at 9 p.m. Eastern, or GMT -4. That's going to be with Congo, Benno, and Shizno, and should be a very fun time, all things considered. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.